Prayer.
Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society, good of all human lives upon it, and the just government of its people. We beseech you to look with your abundant favor upon us, your servants, whom you have entrusted with the performance of such important trust in this community. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we may treat and consider all matters that shall come under our attention and deliberation in a so just and faithful manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of this region and of those whose interests you have committed to us. Amen.
We begin with item 1 on the order paper, communication from the chair.
Good morning, honorable members, and welcome back. I believe each one of you had a good weekend. I do not have any announcements to make other than inviting you back to the plenary. So let us proceed.
Item 2, laying of papers, Roman 1.
Chair, Council of Ministers.
Mr. Speaker, whereas the August House passed the EAC Competition Amendment Bill on 26 May 2021, and whereas the Assembly transmitted the assent copies to the EAC heads of state for assent, the Republic of Kenya observed that the bill requires some amendments before it can be assented to. The Republic of Kenya proposed that Section 12, subsection 1 be amended as follows. The authority shall not approve a merger that leads to the substantial lessening of competition in the relevant market. Mr. Speaker, the Republic of Kenya further requested that subsection 4 of Section 12 be amended to provide for circumstances in which the power can be exercised by the authority and to confer the power for the making of such regulations. I now have the honor of tabling the returned bill in accordance with Rule 73 of the Assembly Rules of Procedure.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, Honorable Council Chair. The bill is referred to the Committee on Trade and Investment.
Still on the same item, item 2 on order paper, Roman 2.
Chair, City, aye.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the report of Committee on Communication, Trade and Investment, report of the on-spot assessment of the status of implementation of the EAC one-stop border post Elugu, Nemure, Kobero Kabang, and the Rusumo, and the Rusumo hydroelectric infrastructure. I beg to lay.
Still on item 2 on the order paper, Roman 3.
Chair, Committee on Accounts.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay the report of the Committee on Accounts on the benchmarking mission on the mandate of national assemblies and implementation of recommendations of parliaments on annual reports. I beg to lay.
Honorable Chris, you forgot to switch off your microphone. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, still on item 3 on order paper Roman 4.
Chair Committee on Agriculture, Tourism and Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the report of the Committee on Agriculture, Tourism and Natural Resources on the oversight activity to assess the performance of the tourism sector in the EAC region. I beg to lay.
We proceed with item 3 on order paper East African Community Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2022 by way of motion.
Honorable Council Chair.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the East African Community Supplementary Appropriation number 2 bill for 2022 be read for the first time.
Seconders. Honorable Dr. Makame, Honorable Ambassador Fatuma, Honorable CTC. Honorable Council Chair, you can, or clerk proceed.
We proceed to item 5 on order paper East African Community.
No, you have to read the title of the bill.
The East African Community Appropriation Bill 2022.
I refer the EAC Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2022 to the Committee on General Purpose.
We proceed to item 5 on order paper, the East African Community Disabilities Bill 2022 by way of motion.
Chair, Council of Ministers.
Mr. Speaker, I believe we are on order number 4. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the East African Community Appropriation Bill 2022 be read for the first time.
Seconders. Honorable Dr. Uburu, Honorable Thomas Duty, Honorable Dr. Makame, and the Honorable CTC.
The East African Community Appropriation Bill 2022.
The East African Community Appropriation Bill 2022 is referred to the Committee on General Purpose.
We proceed to item 5 on order paper, East African Community Disabilities Bill 2022 by way of motion.
Honorable Alex Bahati.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in accordance with the Rule 66, I beg to move that the East African Community Persons with Disability Bill 2022 be read for the first time. I beg to move.
Seconders. Honorable Oda, Honorable Dr. Karinda, Honorable Darang, Honorable Rutazana, and all members standing. Honorable
The East African Community Disabilities Bill 2022.
The East African Community Disabilities. Just a moment. The East African Community Persons with Disabilities Bill 2022 is referred to the Committee on General Purpose.
We proceed to item 6 on order paper, report on the Committee on Regional Affairs and Conflict Resolution on the implementation of the Nairobi Protocol for the prevention, control, and reduction of small arms and light weapons in the Great Lakes region and the Horn of Africa by way of motion.
Well, honorable members, I think last time when we adjourned on the 2nd of March, the chairperson of the committee had already presented the report. Is it right? Am I right? And you had completed the reading of the report. Yes, so we are now at the stage of opening the debate. I propose the motion that the report of the Committee on Regional Affairs and Conflict Resolution on the implementation of the Nairobi Protocol for Prevention, Control, and Reduction of Small Arms and Light Weapons in the Great Lakes region in the Horn of Africa be adopted. The debate is open. I'm not sure you still have a recollection of the report properly. But I can just give a few minutes to the committee chair to kind of debate his own report, her own report, to bring you to speed. Do you have the copy of the report? Okay.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Maybe you'll allow me to remind members about the report. The report is an oversight activity of the Committee on Regional Affairs and Conflict Resolution that was conducted from the 27th to the 30th September 2021 to assess the implementation of the Nairobi Protocol for the prevention, control, and reduction of small arms and light weapons in the Great Lakes region and the Horn of Africa. So although the scope is wide, but the focus of the committee was to interact with stakeholders in all the 6 partner states of the EAC to assess how partner states have been implementing the Nairobi Protocol on small arms and light weapons. Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, as you are aware, there's been an increase in illicit small arms and light weapons within the region, including East Africa. And this poses a threat to peace and security, and it has led to escalation of armed conflict, transboundary crimes, sustained poaching, cattle rustling, terrorism, and other serious crimes in the East African region. The other challenge is that the small arms are also in the hands of civilian population. In fact, in some countries, majority of the arms are in the hands of the civilian population. So you can imagine the threat. Some of the activities, some of the objectives of this activity included to assess the impact of small arms on the security in EAC, to evaluate the extent to which the Nairobi Protocol on small arms have been implemented. In terms of methodology, in all the 6 partner states, members interacted with stakeholders, both in government and civil society, and also private sector. And most of the government stakeholders are mainly security agencies and also ministries related to the management of small arms and light weapons. In terms of status, I want to go country by country, but overall, what we noted as the committees in our respective countries is that a lot has been done in the implementation of this protocol. Legislative measures have been established, including both national, regional, also complying with some of the international measures. There's also been enhancement of operational capacity to handle the illicit small arms and light weapons, the issue of marking and tracing of small arms and light weapons and record keeping, the disposal of state-owned, confiscated, owned, and licensed small arms, the issue of import, export, transfer, and transit, dealers, brokers, and brokering of small arms is also taken care of by most of the partner states. The law enforcement, transparency, information exchange, and harmonization. So overall, we realize that there are institutional frameworks that have been put in place, legal frameworks, armories have been set up in some countries so that these small arms can be kept safe in those armories. But of course, there are also many challenges that have been also noted in most of the countries. But we've also noted that the level of implementation of the Nairobi Protocol differs from country to country. Overall, the 5 partner states who are party to the Nairobi Protocol, with the exception of South Sudan, have progressed very well. But South Sudan, being a new member to the protocol, still has a lot to improve on. And of course, as you know, the Republic of South Sudan has got so many challenges result from a long protracted war and the implementation of the comprehensive agreement, and also and therefore, in terms of management of small arms and light weapons, it's still a very big challenge. And that's why you will see when it comes to some of the overall recommendations that we proposed. We propose that a country like South Sudan, in addition to having accompanying measures both by the EAC and also the Nairobi Protocol, so the RECSA that is in charge of Nairobi Protocol, but it has to be integrated into the overall program of the integration of South Sudan within the EAC. So the component of peace and security and control of small arms has also to be given emphasis. One of the cross-cutting challenges you've seen in all the 6 countries is the fact that there is a problem of porous borders. And because of porous borders, it is very difficult to control the entry of these small arms and light weapons. The second one is also on the issue of the challenges of armed conflicts within the region, including the many rebels within our EAC, but also in the Great Lakes region. And therefore, controlling the flow of these arms becomes a challenge. We also realize that there is need for synergy, but there is also a challenge of the fact that some of our citizens see guns as the only way to survive. So in order to disarm and also give incentive to our citizens who possess guns, it's important to come up with alternative surviving mechanism that will guarantee livelihood after disarmament and promotion of a culture of peace. There is need for joint operation of East African countries to control the misuse of weapons. But we also need harmonization of policies to inform of manufacture, control, possession, import, export, re-export, transport of small arms and light weapons. We've also urged the Council of Ministers to put in place a regional forensic laboratory for small arms and light weapons verification, which would go a long way to help the EAC partner states that have largely been unable to provide for such a facility. We also need to come up with joint efforts to fight illicit trade of firearms on the porous borders, especially of Uganda, Somalia, Kenya, and South Sudan, and the need for a coordinated approach to disarm the cattle rustlers. There is also need to encourage partner states to utilize available mechanisms and institutions established to fight proliferation of small arms and light weapons. So we've also realized that within the region, we have centers of excellence, like in the Republic of Burundi. There is a regional center of excellence in the disarmament, but it is not, it is underfunded. So we urge the council to assist in the funding of this very important center. There are also some best practices, both in countries, in different countries, be it Rwanda, Uganda, United Republic of Tanzania, all the 6 partner states, and we urge partner states to learn from each other in the management and control of small arms and light weapons. Right, Honorable Speaker, I think I can stop at this. I hope members now at least can refresh what we discussed and be able to debate the report.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Okay, debate is open. Honorable Dr. Ito, Honorable Duwayo, and the Honorable Gabriel Garang, Honorable Dr. William, in that order.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the debate on the report by the Committee on Regional Affairs and Conflict Resolution. I want to thank our chair for an excellent report, and I rise to support the report. The reason why I asked to speak is I just want to make some emphasis on the report itself. Really, if you go out there, small arms and light weapons are a real menace to peace and security in the East African community. It just makes me feel that sometimes because they happen in the peripheries of the capitals, we don't seem to feel how terrible they are and what kind of disorganization and displacement it causes. Small arms and light weapons are responsible for bloody conflicts that are found in the East African region. They're responsible for tribal conflicts. They're responsible for cattle rustling. They're responsible and contribute to terrorism. And in fact, they are a challenge to democracy itself. If we really take time to understand what is causing to our population. If we really assess the loss of life cost due to the possession of light arms among the population, it may be a lot more than the loss of life during war with other countries. It's really terrible and serious. And it's because this conflict also really isolates areas. If you look at areas like northern part of Uganda, northwestern part of Kenya, and southwestern part of South Sudan, where you have the Toposa, the Turkana, the Pokot, and the Karamojong. These places are really isolated because of insecurity there. And because they are isolated, they also lack services. And because they lack services, they go back to conflict. And because they go to conflict, they are isolated. It's really serious. It's just that we need to really consider small arms, not as something out there, but something really affecting the fabrics and the economy and democracy in a lot of parts of our country. They even contribute to the failure of implementation of peace agreements, because when conflicts happen, people acquire arms. And when they do acquire arms, and if DDR doesn't take place properly, and the small arms remain in the hands of the people, very soon you see conflict coming back again. So really, I really appreciate that there is this Nairobi protocol, but given our experience in this oversight, we felt that most countries are on their own, and we fail to see the connection between what each country is doing and the EAC Department for Peace and Security. There is total disconnect. And there is lack of coordination. There is lack of regular meetings to check and make sure everybody's doing their part, that lessons are learned. And there is this porous borders. Unless EAC works at it together, the issue would continue, because we have large, very long, extended borders. And if we don't have a watch on them, small arms would continue to come from hotspots where there are some conflict. We also learned that issues of poverty contribute to the possession of light arms and, small arms and light weapons. When people are poor, they devise a means of fighting the next neighbor or something in order to acquire wealth. So really, in essence, small arms are not small problems. They're real, they should be central to the peace and security that we are talking about. So my concluding remarks is that EAC, through the Department of Peace and Security, to up their act and provide that necessary opportunity for the countries to meet and share reports and harmonize their policies and make sure that the institutions created to handle these small arms and small weapons, small arms and light weapons are really working. I beg to stop, but I really think it is an issue that should receive central attention in the EAC. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ito, Honorable Dr. Ito. Honorable Nduwayo.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Let me first declare that I'm a part of this Committee of Regional Affairs and the Conflict Resolution. Right Honorable Speaker, before I proceed, I just want to actually congratulate Burundi, not just because I'm from Burundi, because they have achieved so much in this by implementing this Nairobi protocol. So Burundi has marked their guns, almost 100% of them they are marked. And this it allows the security forces to track the criminals. Even if one arm is found during the criminal activities, they will know who was the owner of that firearm because they are registered. Now my question is to request the Department of Security or Peace and Security to assist in every situation whereby the Center of Excellence, which was established in Burundi, is facing like to assist them by providing the required equipment so that they can carry their duty, which was given to them by the region officers. So that, Honorable Speaker, I'm talking in terms of the security here. We've been watching TVs on what is happening in Kenya, in different parts of East Africa, whereby the movement of firearms are not just causing death, they are also being used by stealing the cattle or in other criminal activities. So I urge the council to fast track this implementation by enforcing the partner state to register their arms and also to monitor the movement of these armed smugglers, especially on our port, because most of these arms are from overseas, they are not from Africa. So where they pass is through the port, and we know we have a major port, one being Mombasa, other one being a port of Dar es Salaam. So I urge the council to put some serious mechanism on those ports so that we can control the firearms which are entering in this region. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, I also urge our partners to put some mechanism to deal with these regional smugglers. Also, I encourage the regional peace, regional securities who are currently meeting in Goma to deal with these different groups, not just sitting and talk, but to implement, to stop these smugglers, because these firearms are costing so much lives within our region. Honorable Speaker, this is my contribution. I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nduwaya. Honorable Alak.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. I'm a member of this committee, and in fact, on this issue, we really have made good research in the sense that we have had time to meet with different stakeholders to assess the implementation of the Nairobi Protocol for the prevention, control, and reduction of small arms and light weapons from the Great Lakes region and the Horn. I rise really to perhaps commend the effort that have been made by some of the countries that have some wars, either civil wars or internal wars, like the Uganda, Rwanda, and Burundi, and the effort they have made. But we have a real problem in South Sudan. South Sudan borders Central Africa, Sudan, DRC, Uganda, Kenya, and Ethiopia. Sudan is still also having internal wars, and it has a lot of arms. The same thing with Central Africa. DRC, the same. Uganda, you have some of the cattle owners like the Karmajong. In Kenya, you have the Turkana and the Pakot. And Ethiopia, you also have a lot of arms flowing into South Sudan. I rise really to urge the Council of Ministers and this community that attention must be paid to the Republic of South Sudan in this area. There are too many small illicit arms in the hands of civilians. What you hear to be fighting, to be civil war in South Sudan, is being conducted by civilians. And these are communities. They are using it against the government, they are using it against themselves. And as we consider peace and security to be the prerequisites for any social and economic development in the region, if we have not addressed this, then you will eventually lose South Sudan in the process of integration. My problem with us in Africa, we sometimes ignore some of the situations. And I had one time in this parliament urged the 5 countries in East Africa to pay attention to the reconstruction of South Sudan. The other countries, the Europeans, the Americans did it in Second World War when they launched a martial scheme to help Europe after the war. This one has not been done in South Sudan. So I'm urging the Council of Ministers that the problem in South Sudan should not be seen as only their problem. If you have accepted South Sudan to the East Africa community, then the Council, the summit, must be really active in trying to help South Sudan in okay. So I'm urging the Council of Ministers to pay attention so much to how we can get arms out of the hands of the civilians in South Sudan. This could be done in many ways. In the sense, there must be regional bodies that are formed for particular. You have the Uganda, you have Kenya, and they have tribes at the borders who are heavily armed. So attention must be paid to that. You have seen in the DRC, which has become a member now of East Africa, how they make incursions into Uganda, and Uganda had to go in. We are hearing these days also there are problems between Rwanda and DRC. Now, how can East Africa be secure? How can you move forward with the integration process if you still have such number of arms in the hands of people? They are said to be small arms, but after a while, you'll find that there will be heavy arms in the hands of these people. So the recommendations that have been made here, I hope the Council of Ministers will take this thing seriously. When we are staying in this peaceful Arusha in Tanzania, we moved the other time from Mombasa through here to Kenya, to Uganda, and to Rwanda. But move in South Sudan, and you will see only civilians have heavy arms, and they cause a lot of insecurity. So when we are sitting in the comfort of this peaceful place, let us also remember South Sudan, Council of Ministers. Because it is important attention is paid, particularly development of skills for people in South Sudan. Most of the skills that are in South Sudan are from countries. They're either from Uganda, from Kenya, from Ethiopia, and from elsewhere in the region. And if you have not developed alternative way of living, and you leave people with the arms in their hands to rob each other, to loot each other, to kill each other, then you have not helped South Sudan. So I'm appealing through this report that the Council of Ministers must be really very active in trying to push to the summit and help the peace and security department, because it seems as if even the funding is very low in this department, and they cannot do their function very well. Because we have been also considering an oversight also on this piece or a report from the Council of Ministers on this peace and security in the region. So I rise to support the report. I'm part of it. And I aim urging the Council of Ministers to do more than what they are doing in trying to help South Sudan and help the region. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Alak. Honorable Dr. William.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, to give me the opportunity to contribute to this report. I am a member of this committee, and I ready to support it. And I thank very much the member of regional and the able chair, Ambassador Fatuma. Right Honorable Speaker, I will try to be brief. I want to focus on 2 or 3 aspects of this report. I was given opportunity to chair the subcommittee in South Sudan. I went in South Sudan. And among the members present, there are not less 8 generals. They were members of the army, the police, the immigration, the interior minister, and so on. And they declared themselves that they were really unable to control or to limit the widespreading of small army and the light weapon. And I was given opportunity to compare the situation in South Sudan on what we get in Rwanda with the genocide against Tutsi in the war, and what happened also in Burundi and in Uganda. And by the way, it is an opportunity for me to appreciate what both countries have done to reduce the widespreading of small arms and the light weapons. And I said to them, we did too much and we have to success or situation. Because in South Sudan, there are many small arms and weapons, and more than what is under the control of the government, the army and the police. This is very dangerous because it undermines the development opportunities of the country. You cannot really expect to develop a country where you cannot secure the population in every way of life. Let the Speaker, by saying this, I think the responsibility number 1 is the Council of Ministers. The Council of Ministers has really to see how, as a new member, right, South Sudan can be helped and taken on board to really control the widespread of small and light weapons. And Right Honorable Speaker, I know you are doing great to do marches in assembly, but we have to see what to do to approach South Sudan, to help South Sudan. It seems to be on its own. It seems to be like it is own. And to understand this, we have to see how to outline the broad social and economic consequences of irregulated small arms availability in every corner of South Sudan. And now, soon, we will get DRC on board. And you know, for more than 20 years, what he has been doing in the eastern of Congo, not only there is more in the right weapon, but there are also big weapon, big arms. And it cannot be possible if DRC come in and we will not be able to help South Sudan to control really the situation of reducing more arm and the light weapon. Mr. Speaker, I support the report, but I again approach the Council of Ministers to see how really to make a joint effort to fight the illicit trade of firearms, mainly on the porous borders of certain countries like Uganda, Somalia, Kenya, and South Sudan, and soon DRC. And I think, as the chair of the committee has said, the Council of Ministers have to put in place a regional forensic laboratory for small arms and light weapon for verification. That is the Speaker. I thank you and I support this report.
Thank you. Honorable members, it is okay if the recommendations are clear because we have many matters today and I need to inform you in advance that the General Purpose Committee requested in the afternoon to work on the supplementary budget. So we may not have the afternoon session. So you can consider not having long debates on these reports. When the recommendations are clear, we move on to another subject. Yes, you don't have to, I have seen it. So I will pick another list, but have that caveat in mind. Honorable Susan and the Honorable Francois and the Honorable Rose.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. First of all, I'd like to also add my voice and congratulate the Minister from Kenya upon her appointment to this great assembly and a great community. I also want to appreciate the Committee on Regional Affairs for the job well done. I will not take too much time on debating the report because it's self-explanatory and it's well detailed. However, there is one recommendation that I disagree with, and I will seek the indulgence of the committee to reconsider it, and that's on page 14 under 5.3. It's the last recommendation under 5.3, but on page 14, before you go to 6.1. And that recommendation is that the Council of Ministers should make the necessary arrangements to establish the Regional Center of Excellency on Disarmament and institution of the community, like CASOA, like the East African Health Research Commission, among others. So the committee is proposing that we should transform a regional center of excellency into an institution of the community. So if we equate it to the institutions like ASOA, we are really headed for trouble because we have so many centers of excellence in the region, which are actually doing a very good job. So if we are going to transform all of them into organs and institutions of the community, we will not be able to meet the financial obligations and all that is required. So I request that it remains a center of excellency. I understand they're doing a great job. We all appreciate it. Let council avail money to operationalize the center in Bujumbura, where it was put, as recommended earlier on page 13. but not
Information.
making it an organ of EAC.
Information.
Honorable Susan, you're taking information? Honorable Dr. Oda.
Yeah, thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. But I think there is a center which is already in Burundi.
Yes, there is, but the proposal of the committee is to upgrade it, if that is the right word, into an institution of the community. And Honorable Susan is saying they need to reconsider that. There is no need for centers of excellence to be transformed into regional, into EAC institutions, because they can remain centers of excellence.
Okay,
I think that's the point.
Thanks.
I hope they. And some of these centers of excellence perform better than some of our institutions. Yes. I'm not sure the report contains any motivation as to why the proposal is being made. Honorable Francois.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the floor. I actually rise to support this report, given the invested effort to make sure it's done, it's informative as far as prevention, control, and reduction of small arms and light weapons in the Great Lakes region and also the Horn of Africa. We were used to have just reports that are dealing with EAC. So here we can have a joint effort that is commendable. Mr. Speaker, I applaud that all the 6 partner states have ratified the Nairobi Protocol, which is good. As far as the implementation is concerned, we're still observing some issues that need to be addressed to make sure small arms and light weapons are remarked and registered. I could identify some good practices under Rwanda part of report. Allow me to bring some of them. Like armories were constructed in Gishari Police Training School in the eastern part of the country. Modified armory container for small arms and light weapon was given to police training school. There was a handover of gun racks and steel arms boxes by Rekisa to the Rwandan security institutions. And also, let me say that community policing system was also established. And I took a benefit to that training because I participated in one seminar whereby community policing was being conducted, and I can recall how it is beneficial for the citizens of Rwanda and of the region, because this is just a joint effort, as I earlier said. Mr. Speaker, without taking long, as far as the report is concerned, on page 22, I could read point 7.2 under observations, and these observations are meant to be for the Republic of Rwanda. But if we read it through, bullet number 3 can be also found in the general observations of the report generally, meaning that we can delete here because it is kind of bringing confusion. Small arms light weapon control programs have been integrated into the community policing. This is what I have mentioned, but bullet number 4, there is differing implementation levels in controlling cells within EAC partner states, whereby one country may wish to tighten up the control measures while the other is too reluctant. I think this is general can be shifted from here to the other part because it's already on page 37 at the same time. So there is no need to have it under Rwanda. If we go point 11.0 general observations, page 37, we can have the 4th bullet reading the same. The 4th bullet, there is differing implementation levels in controlling etc. So they're the same bullet, then it can be deleted from Rwanda side. The same is applicable for the following bullets on page 22. Weak implementation of regional laws and the protocols hinders effective delivery on peace and security programs at the community level. This one attracted my attention because I have read the good practices as far as Rwanda is concerned. Then when I read this, I said, no, this is just in contradiction. So I think these are general observations from the entire report that can be shifted to the other page of general observation as far as EAC is concerned. There are concerns about availability of arms among the local communities, such as the pastoralists and rebel groups operating in the region. Because I'm also a member of agriculture, and I took part to the public hearings of livestock control, livestock bill. So I know Rwanda doesn't have pastoralists. So this could not be applicable for Rwanda. Mr. Speaker, they can just read this through the report and see if there is some aspect that, yeah.
I think the point is made. General recommendations should be put in a general recommendation part, and specific country-specific observations should be placed as country-specific observation. So it is the question of drafting. Honorable Rose.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. On the outset, I want to say I'm a member of this committee. And I want to say that our recommendations and the general observations are very clear. There is really nothing much to add to this, what we have done. Right Honorable Speaker, I just want to emphasize on some issues here. When you look at the challenges that are being advanced by the member states on implementation of the Nairobi Protocol, here among them is the lack of funding, and then the trained human resource to handle issues to do with the requirements in that protocol. Right Honorable Speaker, we have always talked about a sustainable funding mechanism for the East African community. And this is where everything really ends, or this is where the buck stops, funding. So I think it's a high time that our Council of Ministers take this matter seriously. Several recommendations have been made by this assembly on alternative financing mechanisms. We have talked about it. We have talked about it for the last 5 years I've been in this assembly, but I do not see progress. Each time we're told there is a consultancy to look at alternatives that have been provided. But I think Council should put its foot down and take action. One of the mechanisms that we proposed here is being utilized elsewhere in the African Union. So let's just do that. Pick it as well, it is ours, and make use of it so that we are able to implement most of these objectives, especially as provided for in the treaty as general objectives of this community, but also to fund those individual activities and programs and provisions of the various protocols that are now in place. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I just wanted to make emphasis on that. Then secondly, it is very important that we address the key pull and push factors that have encouraged the trade in small and the small arms and light weapons. As mentioned by colleagues here, cattle rustling, then you find even this one now go cross-border, then there's need to disarm also the mindset of these people who are engaged in the trade of these small arms as a business. They do it as a business, as an economic activity, but also use these small arms now to destabilize the peace and security in the region. So there's need to focus, especially on certain regions. When you look at the triangle, that is the northern Uganda, where we have our the Karamojong, then the Toposa in South Sudan, then the Pokot, cattle rustlers in Kenya, and then the other route where arms come from Somalia. There is need to concentrate and really disarm the mindset of those communities that are in that area. But again, also address the issue of poverty and the lack of sources of income. Alternative survival mechanisms is key, because these are the push and pull factors, Right Honorable Speaker. I don't intend to put in much, but also to thank my committee for the work well done and the clear recommendations, Right Honorable Speaker, I need to submit.
Thank you, Honorable Rose. Honorable Musamali.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to add my voice on this report. Let me thank the committee, the chairperson and the committee for the work they have well done. Mr. Speaker, as a representative of Uganda in Eala, I want to put it clearly that Uganda has suffered at the expense of the cattle rustlers from Kenya called the Pokot and the Turkana. We have also suffered insurgents and insecurity from the people from South Sudan called the Toposa. Mr. Speaker, this report is supposed to address mechanisms that have been put in place by partner states to address insecurity. Uganda did its part to disarm the armed Karamojongs. And these Karamojongs, as we talk now, they are vulnerable because of the armed civilians from Kenya, from the side of the, particularly the Pokot and the Turkana, and also the Toposa from South Sudan, Mr. Speaker. Now, what do? We are all the time lamenting, and the people are dying. Now, what happens now today is that the criminal elements in Karamoja connive with the criminal elements in Kenya, the Turkana, and then get arms from Kenya and come and kill and raid animals in the Karamoja region. They even go beyond the Karamoja region and to other parts of Uganda, Mr. Speaker. And this is a very big problem. It has again escalated because the Karamojongs are saying now, if government of Uganda is failing to address this issue, then we should get back our guns. And that sub-region had experienced peace for about 15 years since the disarmament, Mr. Speaker. So this report here is talking, when you look at the general recommendations, Mr. Speaker, the report is talking of, let us urge the Council of Ministers, let us encourage. Now, what are we encouraging, Mr. Speaker? God, who created the lion, is also God who created the cob, Mr. Speaker. And the cob eats grass, and the lion does not eat grass, it eats meat. Assume that the lion is hungry. It's also praying to God. It wants food. And if this cob does not run away, if the lion appears and the cob doesn't run away, Mr. Speaker, it will be eaten. And God who created the cob is the very God who created the lion. So we should stop lamenting and we start and we keep on praying and urging, Mr. Speaker. What am I proposing now? In East Africa, we have a problem. We keep on urging all the time. We do not have a permanent peace and conflict resolution mechanism. We have all these things here which have come up through protocols and so on and so forth. If we look at the protocol of peace and security, political and peace security protocol, it provides for establishment of a panel of eminent persons a panel of eminent persons which is meant to address the issues of peace and conflict. And right honorable Speaker, you like it or not, man will always live with conflict, and it is part of life. Because of resources, because of greed, because of this and that. But we as human beings, we need to put mechanisms in place, Mr. Speaker, to address these problems. So I want to urge, and for this matter, I want to propose that no, I'm proposing now.
We have to graduate from urging to proposing.
Yes. Hey, I want to propose.
If it makes it better.
Yes, I want to propose that the committee adds in the general recommendations a proposal that we establish a permanent peace and conflict resolution mechanism. And in addition, if you are chair and your committee, you will help me here now. Establishment of a permanent peace and conflict resolution mechanism to actualize or establish the panel of eminent persons, because it is there provided for, but it is not operational, Mr. Speaker. So we need this panel to be established such that at all times they are able to address issues of conflict and peace in East Africa, Mr. Speaker. So we should not keep on lamenting, Mr. Speaker, but let's have this conflict mechanism put in place. Lastly, we have something called the East African Standby Force. What the Honorable Garang Arak was proposing that we should go to South Sudan and we help. He's saying that we should remember the Republic of Sudan on the issue of security. Let us not just remember, let's act. Yes, you said, let us remember the Republic of South Sudan on the issue of security. Let us not just remember, but let us act. So
I think
now,
that is what he meant, you know.
yes. So, but when we talk of acting, there should also be deliberate efforts by the people of South Sudan to embrace the mechanism which may be put in place. Why I'm saying this, Mr. Speaker, when we were in South Sudan on the Committee of Trade, working on the report about the integration of South Sudan in the community. Yes, in the customs union. Mr. Speaker, we brought the issue of the traders who are being killed on the road between Nimue and Juba. Drivers, traders, and them, and so on and so forth. I proposed it to the members of parliament who are there from South Sudan, that why don't we have joint operations of soldiers from East African armies to come and work together with the soldiers of South Sudan, such that we are able to combat these insurgents or these robbers on the roads. A member of parliament of South Sudan, he says, no, South Sudan is a sovereign state. We are not going to allow mercenary armies in South Sudan. This is a member of parliament. So if the leadership do not embrace effort by the community, it will not be possible to enforce issues of security in the Republic of South Sudan. But we must embrace joint efforts, Mr. Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Musamari. Honorable members, may I request you to conclude on this? And Honorable Musamari, please put your proposals in writing for the committee chair to consider. Who comes first? Is the council chair for comment before the committee chair concludes, if any? If any. Yes.
Honorable Speaker, I would like to thank the members for the debate, for the report, for the recommendations. And This is a weighty matter. The matter of small arms and security within our partner states has clearly been pointed out. And it's not the first time that we're dealing with it. A lot of our interstate cooperation deals with this matter. So it is encouraging that Eala saw it fit to also add its voice to this matter, grave matter, and it has made some, you have made some strong and useful recommendations, which we promise to commit to our relatives. We have at least 3 sectoral councils handling this matter, and whatever we can be implemented at the community level is something that the council will see that it is done. But quite a bit of the recommendations you will observe, Honorable Speaker, apply to national actions, and this will also be communicated through this council to the respective member states. I want to thank the committee once again for this recommendation.
Okay, thank you very much, Council Chair. Committee Chair, just quick responses, not going through the issues again.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'd like to thank all the members for their interventions. I think most of them were complimentary, and I can't agree with them anymore because they're emphasizing that there is need really to have attention to this issue of small arms and light weapons as a community and as the council. And many issues have been raised, but the biggest challenge has been the issue of funding for the program, because as you can see, it's been mainly the regional center on small arms and light weapons that has been funding this activity. And yet it is very important to the community. So I want to urge, as others have urged the council, to really fund this program because it's a success story and it can even be replicated. The issue of disconnect between the small arms and light weapons and also the EAC, I think we need to ensure that there is synergy. The issue, really, I didn't see any questions. Most of them are complementary information, as I said, but there are some issues that were raised by Honorable Susan, proposing an amendment that we don't need to transform the center, the regional center on small arms and light weapons into a community institution. And I would like to take that amendment because what we wanted to mean is to request the council to strengthen its support in terms of funding and also making sure that they provide the requisite equipment to this center. So I think we can rephrase it to that. There were also some amendments that were proposed by Honorable Francoise. On page 22, I think it was confusion. I also agree that we delete 7.2 on observations on Rwanda because it is catered for in the general observations. There were also some proposals that were made by Honorable Msamari. Didn't want us to urge, but he also ended up urging. And I don't know which is a better word, propose or urge. We are flexible because our role as an assembly, we don't have implementing powers. We always urge the council to act, to ensure that members act, but we are flexible on whatever phraseology is better. The issues you raised, Honorable Msamari, especially on proposing the establishment of a permanent peace and conflict resolution mechanism. I think EAC doesn't lack the mechanisms on conflict resolution and management. In fact, there are so many. We have the early warning mechanism here based in Arusha, which is modeled to the African Union model. that has the capacity to detect conflicts and the trends, and also be able to assist in prevention and mitigation. We've got a fully fledged regional strategy on peace and security. We have our partner states have ratified a defense protocol that allows cooperation in the area of defense, a protocol on peace and security. We've got defense liaison officers based here in Arusha. Every partner state is represented. The issue of the pan of the wise, it is already established, but maybe the challenge is that the approach that the community took is not to have a permanent pan of the wise. They normally appoint a high-level personality when it arises, such as the case of Burundi when they appointed the late His Excellency Benjamin Mkapa, the former president of the United Republic of Tanzania. But what I agree with you is that, like, we also have the East African standby force, but the problem, it doesn't look at East Africa, it's just within the mandate of the African Union. Maybe what we can do is to operationalize, because despite the fact that you have all these institutions, they are not effectively being operational, again, because of the problem of funding and staffing. So Honorable Msamari, if you write operationalizing, we can agree with you, but establishing new institutions when even the existing ones are not operational, I don't think it's a solution.
We can deal with that right away. Operationalizing can serve your purpose, right?
Yes.
Yes, Honorable Msamari, it can. Very good. So will you take it?
Yes, I take
Okay,
it.
all right.
So with that, Honorable Speaker, I want to once again recommend to the council, encourage the council, urge the council to take seriously this report, because the time spent by members, the strong observations and recommendations in every country, but also in the general observation, the need to accompany the Republic of South Sudan in its reconstruction phase and help it address this issue of small arms and light weapons. And of course, you know, DRC is also coming. Recently, we're being told that even Eastern DRC alone has got over 140 rebel groups. So you can imagine coming to the community, the implication. So I think we need to take seriously as a community this
Honorable,
issue
don't
of peace and
reopen the
security.
debates. Just respond to the issues raised.
So I've finished, and I would like to now recognize the following members who participated. Honorable Dr. Anne Ito, Honorable Christophe, Honorable Alak, Honorable Dr. Rugema, Honorable Susan, Honorable Françoise, Honorable Rose, Honorable Msamali, and the council chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable members, I now put the question that the report of the Committee on Regional Affairs and Conflict Resolution on the implementation of the Nairobi Protocol for Prevention, Control, and Reduction of Small Arms and Light Weapons in the Great Lakes region and the Horn of Africa as amended be adopted. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. I also want to join you to commend the committee for having taken time to address this important subject. It is indeed a very important subject. I hope the media will pick the report to be able to comprehensively cover the issues that we have not been able to debate here, but which are in the report. And I think when we address, Honorable Msamali, the issue of cattle wrestlers, when it is cross-border, it can mislead. But this happens even internally. I am sure if the Pokot and the Karamajong were living in the same country, it would be the same problem. because we have also internal communities wrestling cattle from each other. So for them crossing the border really, it doesn't make a big difference. So we should always be careful not to portray them as cross-border conflicts. It's just the conflicts between communities, which happen even internally. But of course, I agree with you. When it is cross-border, it requires that both sides work together. It's more of law enforcement. It's more of a law enforcement problem than, for example, if we are talking about armed rebel groups, that's a completely different problem. So thank you. We move to another item.
Proceed to item 7 on the order paper, report of the Committee on Communication, Trade and Investment on-spot assessment of the status of implementation of the EAC one-stop border post and hydroelectric infrastructures at Eregu, Nimule, Kobero, Kabanga, and Rusum borders by way of motion.
Honorable Chair, CTI.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, once more. Mr. Speaker, permit me to report on the on-spot assessment of the status of implementation of the EAC one-stop border post Eregu, Nemule, Kobero Kabang, and the Rusumo, and the Rusumo hydroelectric infrastructure. Mr. Speaker.
No, before you proceed, seconders. Yes, Honorable Gideon, Honorable Jean-Claude, Honorable Dr. Oda, Honorable Pamela, Honorable Musamari, and all members standing. Honorable Chair, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, can you please allow me to use that one because...
Yes, please. Someone use the podium.
Thank you. Report on-spot assessment of the status of implementation on the EAC one-stop border post, Eregu, Nemule, Kobero Kabang, and the Rusumo, and the Rusumo hydroelectric infrastructure. Number 1, introduction. The East Africa Legislative Assembly is one of the 7 organs of the East Africa Community established under Article 9 of the Treaty for Establishment of the EAC. The treaty bestows upon the Assembly 3 cardinal functions: registration, oversight, and representation. Currently, the Committee on Communication, Trade and Investment is one of the 6 standing committees of the Assembly with a specific function as follows. Number 1, the many functions of the committee are body to receive report on the status of the implementation of the provision of the treaty falling within the mandate. Complaints of non-compliance and facilitating the achievement of the objectives, goals of the treaty. Oversight of work and activity of the sectoral committee of the EAC and the organs charged with implementation of the treaty provision in these 3 arms. 2, the broad function in one above shall hang on the following provision of the treaty, but not limited to them. A, Chapter 11, Cooperation in Trade, Liberalization and Development. B, Chapter 12, Cooperation, Investment and Industrial Development. C, Chapter 13, Cooperation and Standardization, Quality Assurance, Metrology and Testing. D, Chapter 14, Monetary and Financial Cooperation. E, Chapter 15, Cooperation, Infrastructure and the Services. F, Chapter 25, the Private Sector and the Civil Society. G, Chapter 26, Relations with the Regional and the International Organization and Development Partners. It is in this respect and in line with the annual calendar of activity of the Assembly that the Committee on Communication, Trade and Investment, CTI, carried out an on-spot assessment activity on the status of implementation of the one-stop border post of Elugu, Nemule, Kobero Kabang, Rusumo, and the Rusumo hydroelectric infrastructure project. From 25th to 28th October 2021, in a respective partner states, Uganda, South Sudan, Burundi, Tanzania, and Rwanda. 2, background. According to the Chapter 15 of the Treaty of the Establishment of the East Africa Community, partner states undertook to cooperate in infrastructure and services. In particular, Article 89F provided for security and protection to transport system to ensure the smooth movement of goods and persons within the community. This led to the commencement of the East Africa Trade and the Transport Facilitation Project framework that aided to establish one-stop border post infrastructure project within EAC. Under Article 101, paragraph 1 of the treaty, partner states committed to adopt the policies and the mechanism to promote the efficient exploitation, development, joint research, and utilization of various energy resources available within the region. Development of one-stop border posts, OSBPs, from part of the East Africa Trade and the Transport Facilitation Project, EATTFP, which was conceptualized in 2006 as component of the EAC Infrastructure Development Program. Under the EATTFP framework, the community prioritized 15 border posts across the region for conversion to OSBPs to facilitate trade and transport in order to enhance region development through improved border operations. Out of 15 borders designated to operate as OSBPs, construction of 12 OSBPs have been completed, namely Gasenyi Nemba, Ruhwa Rusumo, Lungalunga Hororo, Horiri Taveta, Kagitumba, Mirama Hills, Mutukula, Kabanga, Kobero, Malaba, Isebania, Sirari, Busia, and Namanga. Operational OSBPs continue to have challenges in their day-to-day operation. There has been new proposed OSBPs that are yet to be developed under the OSBP's phase two programs. However, it is worth noting that under the new proposed OSBPs, Elugu Nemule OSBP has been fast-tracked. 3, objective of the oversight activity. By undertaking this activity, the committee aimed to, Roman 1, appreciate the level of implementation and operation of the Elugu Nemule OSBP project and its effect on the movement of people and the business environment. Roman 2, assess the performance of the operation of the Kobero Kabang, Rusumo, and the Elugu Nemule OSBPs. Roman 3, get an update of progress made in the implementation of the Rusumo hydroelectric project. Roman 4, identify the challenges and the opportunity in the implementation of the above project. Roman 5, make recommendation to different stakeholders toward addressing the challenges identified. Point 4, methodology. The committee divided itself into 2 teams to simultaneously undertake the oversight activity in the different partner states. The first team traveled to Uganda and the South Sudan to visit the Elugu Nemule OSBP project. The team was comprised as the following members: Honorable Guy Deng, Nia Deng, team leader; Honorable Odongo George Stephan; Honorable Mary Mgenya; Honorable Giko Happiness Elias; Honorable Gideon Gatpan; Honorable Msamad Mwasa Paul; Honorable Dr. Anne Ito Leonard; Honorable Nur Muhammad Aden. Members of the second team were Christopher Ndwa, team leader; Honorable Abdulkadir Aden; Honorable Alfred Ahingejeje; Honorable Muyabo Jean-Claude; Honorable Engineer Masse Pamela Simon; Honorable Mnya Mohammed Abib, Honorable Gasinzirwa Oda, Honorable Leontina Nzeyimana, Honorable Dr. Obur Oginga, Honorable Dr. Pierre Celestin Rwigema, absent with apology. At Rusumo Hydroelectric Project, members inspected the project installation and interacted with the project management team, staff, and officials from the ministry responsible for energy in Rwanda on the progress made, the challenges encountered, and the envisaged measures to fast-track the completion of the project. At the OSPP's, members toured the installation and the different offices in the regulatory body of the regulated bodies operating there, and had interactive meeting with stakeholders, officials from the ministry responsible for East Africa Community Affairs, representatives of Revenue Authority and the three partner states, Burundi Revenue Authority Office, Burundi Revenue Authority, Office Burundi Tereset, Rwanda Revenue Authority, and the Tanzania Revenue Authority. Immigration Bureau of Standard, other government agencies, clearing and forwarding agent and traders. At Elugu Nemure OSBP, members conducted a guided tour of the infrastructure and the facilities and held interactive meeting with stakeholders, officials from ministry responsible for East Africa Community Affairs, Uganda, Revenue Authority, Immigration, Bureau of Standard, Long Distance Truck Drivers Union, South Sudan National Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, Cross-Border Traders Association, Trademark East Africa, and the Customs Agent. 5, expected output of the activity. The following were the expected output of the activity. Roman 1, level of implementation and operations of the OSBP project and its effect on the movement of people and the business environment appreciated. Roman 2, progress of the implementation of the Rusumo hydroelectric project assessed. And Roman 3, report highlighting the observation and the recommendation of the committee produced, tabled, debated, and adopted by the Assembly. Point 6, status of Rusumo OSBP. 6.1, overview of Rusumo OSBP. Rusumo one-stop border post is a tax post border post established between the Republic of Rwanda and the United Republic of Tanzania. Following the unification of Rusumo borders for both Rwanda and Tanzania, it was officially launched by the heads of state of Rwanda and Tanzania on 6 April 2016 and started OSBP's operation on 1st March 2016. The project of the OSBP is to contribute to full integration through facilitation of free cross-border movement of people and goods to boost cross-border trade. To achieve this goal, a control zone was established that combined both the entry and exit control and the use of single window technique to efficiently control the border where traders or agents submit all information required for shipment. 6.2, operations of Rusumo OSBP. Members were informed that the OSBP is working for 24/7 for both Rwanda and the Tanzania side. Quality and the safety inspection activities are carried out by both regulatory authority of Rwanda and Tanzania at the same time. A joint border coordination committee has been established through which border management committee hold meeting interchangeably to share information and address issues as they arise. Representative of Rwanda Inspectorate, Competition and the Consumer Protection Authority, RICA, informed the committee members that Rwanda has recently established a one-stop trade center at the border in order to streamline cross-border trade where all quality inspection services were handled over to Rwanda Revenue Authority. Since the commencement of OSBP's operations, traveler and the business community have gained much from this model of joint border management. Members were informed that on the Rwanda side of the OSBP, the following performance has been realized. Roman 1, the time for clearing one track reduced from 4 hours to 30 minutes. Roman 2, increase the movement of border community who are allowed to use the national identity card to cross the borders. On average, Rusumo, OSBP cleared 750 members of border community to enter Rwanda each day. Roman 3, in a normal situation, the OSBP clears cross-border movement of 1,200 travelers, 320 entering trucks, and 250 existing trucks on their basis. Compared to the situation before the operation of the OSBP, this statistic represents an increase of 214.2%, from 606 travelers in travelers, 355.5% in truck cleared on their basis. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which has led the Republic of Rwanda to close her borders to travelers for some times, the number of travelers and the truck across the Rusumo OSBP has reduced to 600 travelers, 208 entering trucks, and 250 exiting trucks each day on average. On Tanzanian side of the OSBP, the officer reported the following performance. Roman 1, the time for clearing trucks have been reduced to 30 minutes and to only 1 minute to traveler who don't carry luggage. Roman 2, small traders are facilitated through a simplified border clearance procedure. 3, clearance fees have been reduced to facilitate free movement of traders who deals in local goods originating from the territory of partner state and with a certificate of compliance with the required product standards. 4, the number of trucks cleared on their basis has increased to 285 from 90, more than 300% increase. The number of travelers increased from 500 to 1,700, 340% increase. 5, Roman 5, despite the negative impact of COVID-19 pandemic, the volume of goods which entered in Tanzania from Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo via Rusumo OSBP increased to shilling 5,682,489,689.82 for the year 2015 to 2016, to 9,867,940,927 and 96 cents for the year 2020-2021. At the same time, the volume of trade in goods entering Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo increased from shilling 34,552,210.52 to Tanzania shilling 51,425,685. Beg pardon. 51,425,685,918.72. However, the outbreak of COVID pandemic has adversely affected the performance of the OSBP and caused reduction in number of day clearance of truck and travelers. Truck reduced from 285 to 265, and the traveler reduced from 1,700 to 600 on average. 6.3, challenges. The following challenges were reported to the committee. Roman 1, lack of laboratory and testing equipment from Tanzania Bureau of Standards, Tanzania Food and Drug Authority, Tanzania Atomic Energy Commission, Government Chemistry Laboratory Authority, and even medical laboratory to facilitate their inspection tasks within their respective mandate. Roman 2, difference in tax rate and other charges which are not harmonized, are not yet harmonized within the EAC framework, produce confusion for traders at the time of clearing their goods at the exit or enter the OSBP. This occurs on both sides of Rwanda and Tanzania. Roman 3, lack of harmonization of measures affecting free movement of people, where some partner states allow the use of national IDs, while others still require the use of other cost travel document, as well as non-participation of the United Republic of Tanzania to the EAC tourist visa system. The United Republic of Tanzania and the Republic of Burundi don't recognize national IDs as a document to be used at the immigration desk. Roman 4, lack of harmonization of national laws that affect the free cross-border movement of people and goods, such as the law of foreign verification, transit charges. While Rwanda grants 14 days free of charge with possibly extension at the cost of $30 per 30 days. Tanzania grants only 7 days free of charge and charge $20 per 30 days for any extension of stay. Roman 5, wide informal sector, which is not captured in the statistic. Roman 6, porous borders, which is the rebouncing or rejected consignment of both side Tanzania and Rwanda. 7, a number of products don't have applicable standard. 8, some EAC partner states are not certifying their product based on the EAC harmonized standard, which lead the OSBP official to conduct further informity assessment, thus causing further delays. Roman 9, low level of understanding of the safety concern on the consumer by a number of traders. Roman 10, disruption in electricity supply, which caused delays on OSBP operation on the side of Tanzania. Roman 11, lack of reliable medical service at OSBP on the Tanzania side. Roman 12, many officers of the different regulatory authority present at the OSBP on the Tanzania side lack office space to carry out their task. Roman 13, lack of canteen services to facilitate OSBP workers on the side of Tanzania. Roman 14, insufficient staff accommodation facilities on the side of Tanzania. Roman 15, bad telecommunication network at the OSBP for users of SIM card of most telecommunication companies in Tanzania. Roman 16, lack of holding facility for passengers suspected with contagious disease such as COVID and Ebola. Roman 17, lack of firefighting equipment at the border, yet it is transit for many trucks carrying highly inflammable product. Roman 18, transfer of the office in charge of quality inspection services from the Rusumo OSBP Rwanda side to Kigali caused a gap in the Department of Standard Verification at the border, which made traders to rely on the Kigali officers, which was far. Roman 19, the narrow road between Ngara and the Rusumo poses a challenge to truck drivers since it is difficult for two heavy trucks to bypass each other. And Roman 20, language barrier at the border since most of the cross-border traders use the local languages. This caused at time misunderstanding between the traders and officials. Point 6.4, committee observation. The committee observed that Roman 1, the Rusumo OSBP is one of the best designed OSBPs, which plays an important role to cross-border traders between Tanzania and Rwanda, and for transit goods from Tanzania to the Democratic Republic of Congo. Roman 2, Rusumo OSBP operations have significantly contributed to the increase in intra-EAC trade volume dispute, a number of challenges. Roman 3, a number of challenges affecting the performance of Rusumo OSBPs resulted from the lack of harmonization of national laws and adversely affected the function of the EAC common market. These laws include domestic tax and exchanges, laws of traveling document and the visas, fuel and the road tolls, road and the traffic, and the foreign vehicle transit charges. Roman 4, the lack of EAC harmonized standard of commodity trade within the region or their non-implementation that have been developed in a serious hampering intra-EAC trade. Roman 5, the limited information by the business community about the need for surrounding area, clean water, Roman 5, they limit information by the business community about the need for standards and the accredited EAC standard product. Roman 6, there is a limited access to the essential utility at the Rusumo OSBP and in the surrounding area, clean water, electricity, telephone network, internet, accommodation, office space, medical facilities. Inadequate equipment, firefighting equipment, quarantine, testing laboratory equipment, and the poor road infrastructure. Roman 7, there is a limited capacity of revenue authority officers in quality inspection services at the OSBPs. 6.5, recommendations. The committee recommends the Council of Ministers to direct partner states to apply effectively the EAC harmonized standard in the certifying their product to fast track the process of development of EAC standard for product traded within the region, and the end establish one single region standard authority with branches at the OSBPs. Roman 2, the Council of Ministers to identify priority sectors critical for the functioning of the EAC common market and direct the partner state to take the necessary measures to harmonize their national laws that have impact on the smooth operation of the OSBPs. Roman 3, the EAC Secretariat to organize and coordinate sensitization activity of the business community on the consumer safety and the related product standard. Roman 4, the EAC Secretariat to mobilize funds to support the partner state effort to enhance access to a basic utility at the Rusumo OSBP, provide the necessary equipment and improve road infrastructure. Roman 5, there is a need for further investment to enhance the access to essential utility at the Rusumo and its surrounding area. And the Roman 6, there is a need to enhance the capacity of revenue authority officers who have been deployed to carry out quality inspection services. Point 7, status of Kabanga Kobero OSBP. Overview of Kabanga Kobero OSBP. Kobero Kabanga OSBP is at the border between the Republic of Burundi and the United Republic of Tanzania, and it's opened in 2015. Kabanga OSBP is on the URT side, while Kobero is on the Burundi side. The two are separated by a distance of 2 kilometers. The immigration and the customs officials from both countries occupy the same office and sit adjacent to each other. A number of government agencies and the private stakeholders conduct their operations at the OSBP, such as health services, immigration services, customer services, warehouses, Bureau of Standard, clearing and the forwarding agent, transporters, insurance, and the banks. At the Kobero side, in the URT, government officials include representatives of the Tanzania Mining Commission, Tanzania Food and the Drugs Authority, Tanzania Atomic Energy Commission, Livestock and the Fishery, and the Tanzania Forest Services Agency. Like Rusumo OSBP, Kabanga and the Kobero OSBP was established within the objective 2, Roman 1, to enhance trade facilitation through efficient movement of goods, persons, and the services between the two countries and the adjoining region. Roman 2, minimize the number of required stops during the cross-border trade. Roman 3, amalgamate the activities of agencies operating at the border point of the two countries with simple procedures for a share process as well as for inspections. And Roman 4, minimize the time used for clearing the goods and the passengers at the border post. 7.2, functioning of Kabanga Kobero OSBP. The committee met with OSBP officials and the stakeholders from Burundi and the Tanzania at the meeting hall in Kabanga OSBP Tanzania side. Members were informed that the OSBP operate from 7 to 6 a.m. 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. It was also reported that since its operationalization, the OSBP has achieved the following result. Roman 1, strengthen cooperation among the different agencies operating at the border. Roman 2, reduced clearing time for passengers and goods. And Roman 3, facilitation of free movement of border community due to the implementation of the Ujirani Mwema policy. To testify to the policy, members met with one small trader who was facilitated by the OSBPs and was on his way to Kabanga public market to sell a bucket of pineapples. 7.3, challenges. The following challenges were reported as affecting the smooth function of the OSBPs. Roman 1, unstable and unreliable telephone and the internet connectivity at Kabanga OSBPs in Tanzania. This has a bearing on communication. Roman 2, lack of appropriate testing equipment and the facilities at the border with which causes delays on the OSBP's operations. Roman 3, lack of enough accommodation and the transport facility for the officials operating at the border. Roman 4, lack of enough parking facilities to accommodate goods and the motor vehicle at the Kobero OSBP's Burundian side. And the Roman 5, lack of storage and the quarantine space for good or phytosanitary product. (7.4) Committee observation. The committee observed that the design of Kobero OSBP in Burundi is below standard and its size is not commensurate with its role as the most important entry point of importation into Burundi. Roman 2, unlike the Burundian side, the Kabanga OSBP in Tanzania is well designed and has enough space to host different government agencies and other stakeholders. Roman 3, the operations at the border are only for 12 hours in a day as opposed to the 24 hours operation. The committee took more observation on the time differences whereby United Republic of Tanzania is an hour ahead of Burundi, making them report for duty at different time, hence keeping the citizens waiting for services. Roman 4, poor facilities at Kobero OSBPs in terms of parking yard, office space, accommodations, holding quarantine facilities. And Roman 5, limited equipment used by different government agencies operating at the Kabang Kobero OSBPs. 7.5, recommendation. The committee recommended that Roman 1, the Secretariat works with the Republic of Burundi to mobilize funds for putting the missing necessary facilities at the Kobero OSBP. Roman 2, the United Republic of Tanzania and Burundi should work out the modalities to make sure that Kabanga Kobero operates 24/7. Roman 3, the Republic of Burundi and the United Republic of Tanzania make further effort to provide the necessary equipment to their respective agencies operating at the OSPP to improve the performance, and where needed, seek to support from the EAC Secretariat in resources mobilization, and Roman 4, the United Republic of Tanzania to address the issue of communication, in particular, the telephone and the internet connectivity at Kabanga OSPP. 8. Status of Elugu Nimore. 8.1, overview of Elugu Nimore OSBP. The Elugu Nimore one-stop border post is located at the border of Uganda and South Sudan. As the main gateway into South Sudan from the port of Mombasa, the Elugu Nimore border post is of strategic importance to the EAC region. Trademark East Africa and the Department of International Development funded Elugu border post at 10 of $6.6 million US. While the government of Canada and Uganda financed the Integrated Border Management System, IBM, and the land acquisition and VAT payment for the project. Respectively, while the Nimore border post has cost Trademark East Africa $5 million US for the first project. Members of the committee conducted a guided tour on the infrastructure and the facilities of the OSBPs on both Uganda and the South Sudan side, and the following observations were made. Roman 1, members were informed that Elugu one-stop border was declared fit for occupation on the 15th day of November 2018 by the contractors, Seini Brothers, and the handler over the Uganda Revenue Authority, while on the 6th day of February 2020, the first phase of Nimore one-stop borders was handed over to government of the Republic of South Sudan. Roman 2, the border post of Elugu Nimore operates from 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Roman 3, the first phase of the Nimore one-stop border includes a parking yard expected to handle at least 300 trucks per day, a verification yard and access road. Roman 4, verification building has facilitated fast inspection of good parking facilities and the 6 warehouses. Roman 5, Trademark East Africa has furnished Nimore OSPPs up to 8% with furniture and the ICT equipment, computers and accessories. The internet, ICT, cable installation, while enhanced integrated border management system and the procedures of online clearance for goods and services. However, to note is that internet has not been connected. Roman 6, operationalization of the Nimore OSPP has been partially achieved, whereby most of the border agencies have moved into the OSBP in order to make it easier for clearance and the transit process to be handled seamlessly, except immigration due to lack of enough space. Roman 7, desks have been allocated on both sides. That is for Uganda Revenue Authority and the Customs of the Republic of South Sudan in the verification exemption section, alongside other agencies, for example, South Sudan Bureau of National Standard, Ministry of Trade and Commerce, Port Health, South Sudan, Uganda Coordination Desk, need to be formalized with MIACA, Uganda Bureau of Standards, since the Elugu one-stop border is fully complete. The immigration counters for the Republic of South Sudan are ready too. Roman 8, gender mainstream inclusion woman trader information desk has been provided but is to be formalized. Roman 9, Elugu one-stop border is fully occupied with all border agencies and as well as the customs officers from the Republic of South Sudan. Roman 10, Elugu one-stop border received a scanner for good that is yet to be installed. Roman 11, Elugu handle between 120 to 180 trucks per day. Roman 12, clearance time for truck at Elugu is less than 2 hours, while the one at Nemure takes about 1 to 4 days due to the manual processes that cause delay at Nemure. Roman 13, document recognized for passengers to cross the border at either way are passport, temporary movement permit, certificate of identity, convention, travel document, and emergency certificate. 8.2, benefit of Elugu Nemure OSBP. Roman 1, more effective and efficient use of resources. Roman 2, better coordination and the cooperation between government agencies and trade border communities. Roman 3, improved trader compliance. Roman 4, simplify trade regime. Roman 5, better risk management and enhanced security they carry out joint operations. Roman 6, increased revenue yield. Roman 7, reduce smuggling large scale. Roman 8, investigation made easy on both sides. Roman 9, improvement of infrastructures. Roman 10, information sharing. Roman 11, joint training carried out. Roman 12, relations has improved. Roman 13, close working relationship with other agencies within the same country. Roman 14, monitoring of activities by the lead agency. And Roman 15, decongestion of the border since it takes less time to clear goods and people. Previously, it was taking 10 minutes, but currently it takes 5 minutes. 8.3, challenges. The following challenges are being faced at Elugu Nemure OSBP. Roman 1, porous border still encouraging smuggling. Roman 2, incomplete infrastructure with OSBPs of Nemure that's part of the verification yard and access road, while at Elugu, Uganda Revenue Authority is doing improvement and reworking on the floor tiles. Roman 3, alien registration fines charged by South Sudan immigration officers. This fine is charged failure to register in the Republic of South Sudan within 72 hours of entry. This is contrary to the Common Market Protocol Regulation 5.3. Upon fulfillment of the requirement in paragraph 2 of the regulation, a citizen to whom this regulation applies shall be issued within a pass which shall entitle the citizen to enter into the territory of the host partner state and stay for a period of 6 months. Further Regulation 5.8, the pass issue under this regulation shall be issued without fees. The fine charge are not uniform, ranging from 50 to $100. Roman 4, difference in the standard between the South Sudan Bureau of National Standard and the Uganda National Bureau of Standard. Roman 5, limited verification yard of both sides that cannot accommodate all the cargo or truck from both sides. Roman 6, disparity of internet tax rate like VAT, which encourages smuggling. Roman 7, lack of scanner on the side of South Sudan. Roman 8, lack of animal handling center in the OSBP. Roman 9, lack of integration system between South Sudan and Uganda, cause of the fact that Elugu OSBP is using a SCUDA while Nimure is using a manual system. Roman 10, lack of staff accommodation in the OSBP. Roman 11, absence of port health facilities at Nemure. Roman 12, land acquisition has been a challenge because the land where the construction is to take place belongs to individuals and the border community. This has led to delays in the construction and the completion of Nemure OSBP. Roman 13, pendulum movement of refugees. Refugees choose to go back to their countries to visit relatives, burials, weddings, religious function, and education, among others. Roman 14, flood that occur along River Unyama causes displacement of persons along the border. This caused by heavy rain, which affected the river banks, caused them to burst. And Roman 15, the electronic cargo tracking system stopped at Erugu. So once the truck crossed to Nimole, they are not tracked. Roman 16, lack of well-constructed market shed at the border of Erugu, Nimole. 80.4, committee observation. The following observations were made. Roman 1, the continued variation in tax regime among the South Sudan and the Uganda is big deterrent to intra-trade between the two partner states. For example, while Uganda charged 18% VAT, on the side of South Sudan, charges are unknown. This disparity is partly responsible for the persistent smuggling and the dumping of goods. Roman 2, it was noted that OSBPs are at different levels of implementation. This was partly attributed to the variation and the differing political and development priorities between the partner states. For example, the construction of the Erugu-Nimole OSBP was to start at the same time. However, Erugu is completed and the Nimole has lagged behind due to the complexity of acquiring land for the construction. Roman 3, it was also noted that lack of harmonization of standard has continued to affect the full implementation of the customs union. Roman 4, the non-implementation of the Common Market Protocol Regulation 5, it was mentioned that per the immigration laws of the Republic of South Sudan, all non-citizens are required by law to register within 72 hours of entry into the country. And Roman 5, the committee noted with pleasure the cordial and the good working relationship between the government officials at Erugu-Nimole border. Both officials from South Sudan and the Uganda always have a joint meeting to resolve issues at the border before they are forwarded to the capitals. Implementation of Rusumo Hydroelectric Project. 90.1, Rusumo Hydroelectric Project Overview. The project, known as construction of Rusumo 8 megawatt hydropower plant, is an initiative of three partner states, namely the Republic of Burundi, the Republic of Rwanda, and the United Republic of Tanzania, under the Nile Equatorial Lakes Subsidiary Action Program of the Nile Basin Initiative to ensure sustainable socio-economic development for all the Nile riparian countries. The project consists of the construction of the dam, 8 megawatt power plant and powerhouse, a 220 kV substation and associated 220 kV transmission line in Burundi, Rwanda, and Tanzania, injecting the full capacity in the interconnection line of the grid of the three EAC countries. The project aims at improving access to electricity in the EAC partner state through exploitation of shared resources and increased cross-border sharing of energy and power. It also has a related strategic development objective to increase cross-border energy and the power trade and to improve the transient stability of the system, safety and affordable of supply, as well as flexibility in the operation of the interconnected networks of EAC countries. Its overall goal is to improve the living condition of the people, as well as the quality of the socio-economic development of the countries of Burundi, Rwanda, and Tanzania, through increased availability of affordable electrical energy. The Rusumo 8 megawatt hydropower plant project is considered attractive and favorable compared with any other alternative for power generation in the region to meet the power deficit faced by the three countries, Burundi, Rwanda, and Tanzania. The project is funded by the World Bank for generation facilities for a total amount of US dollar 347.5 million, and Africa Development Bank for transmission facility for a total of US dollar 129 million, of which Burundi received a full grant, Rwanda got 50% grant and 50% loan, and the Tanzania 100% loan, with the expected completion date of February 2020. It is implemented by the Nile Equatorial Lake Subsidiary Action Program on behalf of Rusumo Power Company Limited, under the coordination of the Ministry of Infrastructure of the three countries. Upon project completion, NELSAP will make final handover report to RPCL, and upon commercial operation date, hand over the project to the company RPCL. Construction program of Rusumo Hydroelectric Project. At the time of the CTI committee visit, the project completion rate stood at 82%. The breakdown of the status of implementation per each project component is as follows. 1, civil works construction. Civil works construction is well advanced. Roman 1, dam and the spillway are at 94%, waiting for the Kof Dam to be removed. Roman 2, power intake is at 99%, waiting for the completion of the headrest tunnel, HRT. 3, head care tunnel, HRT is still at 76%. 4, powerhouse structure is at 89%. And 5, switchyard is at 95%, following change in scope to include additional bays. 2, electromechanic works. Electromechanic works are at a different level of completion. Roman 1, installation of equipment is at 99%, with switchyard installation at 65%, of powerhouse installation, turbines, generators, EPS, and AMS at 35%. And the service bay overhead crane fully completed 100%, and already functional at the service bay. Roman 2, switchyard installation is still at 65%, awaiting installation of cabling panel and the commissioning. 3, transmission line. Transmission line are implemented by the respective countries' utility, namely Regideso for Burundi, REG for Rwanda, and the TANESCO for Tanzania. The target completion date for transmission line are aligned to completion of the Rusumo 8 megawatt hydropower plant. The three countries are at different level of completion. Roman 1, for Burundi, the total length of transmission line is 160 kilometers from Gitega to Rusumo, which are at 92%, while the Gitega and the Muyinga substation are at 95%. 2, for Rwanda, the total length of transmission is 117 from Shango to Rusumo, which are at 74, while the Shango and the Bugesera substation are at 94. And 3, for Tanzania, the total length of transmission line is 94 kilometers from Nyakanazi to Rusumo, which is at 62%, while the Nyakanazi substation is at 7% completion. 4, local area development program. The Rusumo 8 megawatt hydropower plant project has component of a local area development program, aligned with the Nile Equatorial Lake Subsidiary Action Program, objective to reduce poverty, promote economic development, and reduce environmental degradation. The LADP is implemented in 2 phases. In phase 1, each of the 3 countries was allocated $5 million to implement specified RRFHP regional Rusumo force activities in the district and the communities within the proximity, namely Giteranyi and the Busoni community in Burundi, Ngoma and the Kirehe district in Rwanda, and the Ngara district in Tanzania. The project implemented include health centers, water supply project, rural road, schools, community administrative buildings, soil protection initiative, livestock intensification, beekeeping, and agriculture. Members were informed that the RPCL Rusumo Power Company Limited board approved an additional $15 million from the project, saving to be used for RADP phase 2 to be completed by the end of 2022. The project was still awaiting letter of endorsement by the Ministry of Finance to disperse the fund. 9.2 challenges encountered. The implementation of the project, which was projected to be completed in February 2020, encountered a number of challenges, including the following. Roman 1, slow mobilization of civil contract, which caused a delay of 1 year to start the real site activity. Roman 2, delay in clearance of cross-border movement of project staff. Roman 3, delay of Nile Equatorial Lake Subsidy Action Program to avail site to contractors for a period of 3 months. Roman 4, contract package 1 caused delay to the electromechanical contractor package 2 and additional cost to the project. Roman 5, blasting was stopped for 8 months following community grievance in Tanzania, forcing excavation to be done mechanically, which is time consuming and the cost. And 6, outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic and the restricted measures taken by the partner states to prevent its widespread. Following these measures, the contractors for electromechanical works whose site is located in Rwanda left the site for 6 months. 9.2, measures invest to fast track the completion of the project. Members were informed by the project management team that the following measures were undertaken to fast track the implementation of the project. Roman 1, ensuring that the contractors have all the required resources, material, and equipment, as well as additional crew to complete their works without further delays. Roman 2, the optimization analysis has been revisited to increase shift possibility for contractors, carry out further simulations and interface improvement. Roman 3, ensuring that there is no interruption in concrete supply, aggregated supply, crushing and batching plant. And Roman 4, full mobilization of all teams on penstock, unit 2, superstructures, masonry, roofing, finishes, finally concrete and the unit bay, backfiring, spillway, get technical team, and headrace tunnel. 9.4, committee observation. The committee observed that Rusumo 8 megawatt hydropower plant project is at very important regional infrastructure, which will substantially contribute to the reduction of the gaps in electricity supply in the 3 partner states. It also represents a good model for sharing existing natural resources for mutual benefit and reinforcing socioeconomic tie of the people of the East Africa. 2, Roman 2, the majority of the various challenges which caused delays in the implementation of the project were of administrative nature and mainly resulted from a lack of harmonization of the policies and the laws relating to free movement of people, free movement of workers, and the free movement of services that still hampered the realization of the objectives of the EAC common market. 3, The project component of local area development program is paramount for the surrounding community to own and protect their hydropower power regional infrastructure. Roman 4, it is very important for the project management team to ensure that all the measures envisaged under their catch-up plan are effectively applied to avoid further delays. And the Roman 5, once completed, the project has the potential to address the issue of electricity supply at Rusumo OSBP. 9.5, recommendation. The committee recommends Roman 1, the government of Burundi, Rwanda, and Tanzania to provide the necessary support to the project and make close follow-up to ensure that the Rusumo 8 megawatt power plant is completed and operationalized as soon as possible. Roman 2, the Ministry of Finance of the three countries to endorse the decision of the RPCL board to use the addition $15 million for phase 2 of RADP and ensure the funds are efficiently managed to improve the living condition of the surrounding community. Roman 3, the government of the three countries to make the necessary arrangement to allocate a fair share of electricity to both generated by the project to the local communities and the other EAC infrastructure such as Rusumo OSBP and the Kabanga Kobero OSBP. Roman 4, the Council of Ministers to direct the partner state to implement the provision of the Common Market Protocol on free movement of people, free movement of workers, and the free movement of services, so as to facilitate smooth implementation of cross-border joint EAC project. And Roman 5, the EAC partner state to draw lesson from Rusumo 8 megawatt power plant so as to harness all the regional potential in terms of shared natural resources for mutual development. 10, general observation. The continued variation of domestic tax regime among the EAC partner states is a big deterrent to intra-trade in the region. For example, while Uganda and the Uganda charge 18% VAT, South Sudan charge on the VAT are not known. This disparity is partly responsible for the persistent smuggling and the dumping of goods into partner state. Roman 2, it was noted that the OSBPs are at a different level of operationalization. This was partly attributed to the variation in development priorities of the EAC partner state. For example, the construction of the Erugu-Nemole OSBP was to start at the same time. However, Erugu is complete while Nemole lagged behind due to land complexity. Roman 3, the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic has adversely affected the performance of the OSBP and caused a reduction in the number of daily clearances of truck and the travelers. For example, at the Rusumo OSBPs, truck reduced from 285 to 265, and the traveler reduced to 1,700 to 600 on average. Roman 4, the lack of harmonization of standard in the EAC has continued to affect the full implementation of the customs union. It was observed that traders use the mark from their partner state as opposed to the East African mark. This is mostly attributed to lack of information to the traders about the product that qualify for the East African mark. Roman 5, the EAC one-stop border post 2016 captured only 15 OSBPs in its schedule. Even since 2016, more efforts have been made to open OSBPs within the community, and yet they are not included in the schedule. Roman 6, some partner states do not honor the certificate of origin for goods originated from other partner states. Roman 7, difference in tax rate, and other charges which are not yet harmonized within the EAC framework produce confusion for traders at the time of clearing their goods as they exit or enter the OSBP. Roman 8, lack of harmonization of foreign vehicles transit charge. This affects the free cross-border movement of people and goods. For example, while Rwanda grant 14 days free of charge with possible extension at the cost of $30 per 30 days, Tanzania grant only 7 days free of charge and they charge $20 per 30 days for any extension of stay. Roman 9, the committee note with pleasure that waive of visa fees by both the Republic of South Sudan and the Republic of Uganda for the citizens. However, it was noted that even after the charges on visa fees were waived, there is still an alien registration that is to be done within 72 hours as per the immigration laws of the Republic of South Sudan, which is at a fee. This is contrary to the Common Market Protocol Regulation 5 on exit and entry for citizens of the East African partner state. Roman 10, while under Article 81 of the Treaty for the establishment of the East Africa Community, the partner state committed themselves to ensuring cooperation in a standardization, quality assurance, metrology, and testing. To date, the level of implementation of this commitment has been low, causing a vacuum within trade in the community. Roman 11, the committee noted with pleasure that the Rusumo 8 megawatt hydropower plant project is a very important regional infrastructure, which will substantially contribute to the reduction the gap of electricity supply in the three partner states. It also represents a good model for sharing existing natural resources for mutual benefit and reinforcing socioeconomic tie of the people of East Africa. And Roman 12, non-harmonization of the OSPP structures. The committee noted with concern to the difference in structures of one-stop border post, which is contrary to Act 39 of the OSPP's Act 2016, that states that the partner state shall harmonize the structures on the facility and the facilities in the control zone through coordinated design and procurement of related construction maintenance and the management services, and they shall consult both internal, external, public, and the private sector stakeholders for input regarding their requirement in the control zone. 11, recommendation. The committee would like the assembly to consider and adopt the following recommendation. Roman 1, there is a need for the partner state to harmonize the foreign vehicle transit charge. Harmonization of these charges should be implemented as matter of urgency. Roman 2, the Council of Ministers should fast track the implementation of the provision of the Act on standardization, quality assurance, metrology, and the testing for goods and the services produced and traded in the community in the fulfillment of the provisions of Article 81 of the Treaty for Establishment of the EAC. Roman 3, there is a need for the government of Uganda to establish a public market at Erugu to facilitate exchange of goods and services by the cross-border communities. Roman 4, urge government of South Sudan to harmonize its passport and immigration act so as to conform fully with Regulation 5 of the Protocol of Common Market, which stipulates clearly about the exit and entry of citizens of the EAC partner state. Roman 5, urge the Republic of South Sudan to settle the land issue at Nimore so as to allow for the construction of the second phase of the Nimule OSPP. Roman 6, urge the Republic of South Sudan to fast track the installation of internet at the newly completed building, which will lead to the development of information, communication, and the technology solution within Customs Department at Nimule border point. Roman 7, urge partner state to adhere to the OSPP Act 2016, and in particular Article 39 of the OSPP Act during a construction of structures and facilities of the OSPP. Roman 8, urge the Council of Ministers to amend the schedule of the OSPP Act 2016 so as to include other OSPPs that are earmarked by the community or leave it open since the community is expanding. Roman 9, urge partner state to mainstream the budget mean for maintenance of OSPPs into budget of the lead agency at OSPPs. This will make it easier for the many agencies to carry out maintenance of the facilities at OSPPs. Roman 10, urge partner state to have local language interpreters at the OSPP so as solve the challenges of language barrier at the borders. Roman 11, urge partner state to fully harmonize laws and the policies relating to free movement of persons, workers, and the labor as spelled out in the EAC Common Market Protocol, so as avoid delays in the implementation project of the community that are carried out among the partner state. Case in study is the Rusumo 8 megawatt hydropower plant project. Is majority behind schedule because the project failed to start due to the delays that were administrative in nature and mainly resulted from lack of harmonization of policies and the laws relating to free movement of people, free movement of workers, and the free movement of services that hampered the start of the project. 12, conclusion. In conclusion, the committee commends the effort taken by the East Africa Secretariat in championing the integration agenda by bringing together investment in the infrastructure sector in the region, which range from road network, OSPPs, railways, optic, fiber, among others. However, notwithstanding the challenge encountered in the resources mobilization for the multi-million project, the committee recommended that the Council of Ministers should ensure the projects are spread even within the region so as to have the same level of infrastructure development, which are key in the promotion of intra-region and continental trade. The committee therefore recommended the Assembly to adopt the report. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nduwayo, Chair CTI. Honorable members, I now propose the motion that the report of the Committee on Communication, Trade and Investment on the on-spot assessment of the status of implementation of EAC one-stop border post and the hydroelectric infrastructures at Elegu, Nimule, Kobero, Kabanga, and Rusumo be adopted. Debate is open. Honorable Claude, Honorable Gideon, let me tell you, honorable members, we have not so much time remaining before we break. So when I pick the list, it doesn't guarantee that all of you will speak. But when we adjourn, we shall continue from where we ended, as we always do. So Honorable Claude, Honorable Gideon, Honorable Dr. Oda, Honorable Oda, Honorable Engineer Mnya, Honorable Kakoza, Honorable Dut.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the floor. I will try to speed up my points. I want, first of all, to declare that I was part of the teams which visited these two OSBPs and the Sumo hydropower project.
and I agree with the content of the report. But Honorable Speaker, when you look at the last recommendations of this report, among the general recommendations, we are recommending to the Council of Ministers to fully harmonize laws and the policies relating to free movement of persons, workers, and labor as per the Common Market Protocol. But this process might take long because still countries are still applying laws, national laws, when it is with regard to issues of free movement of services, service suppliers, movement of workers, and the movement of goods. But when we visited this project of Rusumo hydropower project, we noticed something which needs urgent attention by the Council of Ministers. And therefore, there was a specific recommendation, but it was maybe not captured well here in this report, and it was written generally. So the specific recommendation with regard to that issue of delays in implementation of this project, it was just the issue of related to also the implementation of Common Market Protocol, where workers coming from different partner states, like coming from Rwanda to work where the project is on the side of Tanzania, we're facing issues related to the national laws of movement of workers in Tanzania. The same for even the contractors. So with that, with those issues, we proposed a recommendation as a committee that whenever there is an EAC project joining 2 or more partner states, concerning the partner states should adopt a memorandum of understanding to ensure flexibility in their national laws for easy procedures in order to facilitate the movement of goods, services and services suppliers, and also the movement of persons doing the work. That Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit and support the report.
All right. So are you presenting that as an amendment to Honorable Chris? That's being proposed as an amendment to your report. Honorable Gideon.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to declare that I'm a member of the Committee on Communication, Trade and Investment, and I stand to support the report. Thank you, Honorable Chair of the CTI and members for putting up this important report. Right Honorable Speaker, I have very few comments. One, I was a member, among the members who visited the Elegu-Nimuli border post. In general, all the partner states have made some good progress. And we can confirm as members of the committee, and it is indicated in the report that OSBPs are a key point in trying to promote cross-border trade in the region, especially in the facilitation of goods, services, and the movement of people. It is one of the investment that I think EAC has made to ensure that we realize our integration. Right Honorable Speaker, notwithstanding that, we have also found some challenges that are very much outstanding. One, in the border between South Sudan and Uganda, that is a Lego-Nimuli border. Yes, things are well done on the side of Elegu because it is completely accomplished and it is equipped. But we have got some delayment on the side of Nimule. One of the worrying things on that side is actually the manual clearance of the processes that are involved in manual operations on the side of South Sudan. So you find in the region, the overall achievement is that the time for clearing the tracks is reduced. Has drastically been reduced, but because of the manual operation on the other side, you will find in comparison to the Legu side, it takes 4 days in South Sudan for the truck to be released, and it only takes like an hour or so on the other side. So I think this is, we as members of South Sudan, we have also been contacting the government on key issues, especially on this one, and also the question of the registration within 72 hours. I think that is an effort we are also chasing, but notwithstanding that effort, I think also the council needs to also work with their counterpart in the Republic of South Sudan to lessen the congestion at the border by also ensuring that such processes are made electronic. Right, Honorable Speaker, I also observed something on page 9 that is about Rusumo border, something very key also to be noticed, apart from having very excellent achievement on that side, but also limited access to essential utilities at the Rusumo border that is mentioned on page 9. At the Rusumo OSBP, that is including clean water, electricity, telephone communication. You know, these are very basic things that also needed to be put in place. I think it is high time also the council consider that those important essential provisions to be given to the communities living at that border. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, the issue of communication remind me of what we have been talking as members of this August House about the one area network. We were informed, I think that was our last plenary, that the United Republic of Tanzania and the Republic of Burundi have gone to greater heights in trying to ensure that this the one area network is actualized, and it is something that can be appreciated by the whole region. I don't know how far is that process gone. I would like to ask the Honorable Council members to be able to give us some information about this if there's any effort made towards that end. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I support the report.
Thank you, Honorable Gideon. Honorable Dr. Oda.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And I want to welcome Honorable Betty, the Chair Council, to this August House. And I want to say she is an asset to us as women and to the Women Caucus in this assembly. Secondly, I also want to thank the Committee of CTI for carrying this important activity and under the leadership of the Chair, Honorable Christopher. Thank you for carrying this activity. Honorable Speaker, I want to just comment on two issues. The Rusumo one-stop border post, which is really doing very well, and it's being described as one of the best border posts in the region. But also I want to draw the attention of the members here that when we carried that our tour in 2019, we also observed the same things which were not there, like the health center and also the livestock center. And we gave recommendation till since 2019. And now we are in 2022, we are still having the same challenge. And I think these centers are very important, especially during this pandemic era, and also for the movement of livestock. I'm very keen about the movement of livestock and detection of any diseases which they might carry from one region to the other. The other thing is also we have recommended by then 2019 the lack of the firefighting equipment, which is still an issue now. So I think the council really need to be proactive on the recommendation which are given by the assembly whenever we take an activity. I will also comment on the Elego Numuli, which my colleague Honorable Gideon has said that it is partially operational. And the problem is that there are some infrastructure which are not in place. And we as members from South Sudan, we will also urge our country, the Republic of South Sudan, to do its role. But also I want to urge the council, the Council of Ministers of some things which we have recommended before, because I've been a member of this committee, like the electronic cargo tracking system, which is still not in place. This one is really affecting the trade between the two countries. And also, I would like to draw the attention to the lack of the gender mainstreaming trade information desk, which we will encourage our government, because most of the traders, those smallholders traders, are women. 70% of them are women, and this desk is very important. The other issue also which we face in all the partner states is that the certificate of origin is not very honored and not recognized. And thus, I think all the members and the Council of Ministers, the Secretariat, we have to work on raising the awareness on this issue of recognizing the certificate of origin. The last thing I want to mention, Honorable Speaker, is the last recommendation, which is to urge the partner state to fully harmonize laws and policies relating to free movement of persons, workers, and laborers, because this one is really not well implemented in our partner states. And I think it should be a joint effort, all of us as members of this community, so that we really give our citizens the free movement, which it is one of their rights, the free movement of the person, the laborers, and also the citizen. All right, Honorable Speaker, I will submit, and I'm supporting the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dr. Oda. Honorable Oda Esenziba.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. I also want to thank my chair for a wonderful report. Quickly, I'm a member of this committee, so I wanted to just give emphasis on some few areas. One is that I want to thank the council by coming up with this very important initiative of having the one-stop border posts to facilitate the intra-EAC trade. When we were visiting, we realized that it has really improved, as you have seen in the statistics in the report and in other reports we have been sharing in this assembly. This is one of the very, very important initiatives. And I wanted to urge that the council that you continue putting in place the remained OSPPs to be operational in the areas you have already identified, and those we identify throughout the process of oversight we do as an assembly. I want to say that wanted to request also that you give a time frame, because most of the remained OSPPs, we are told they are going to be put in place, but there is no time frame. So if there is no time frame, then it becomes difficult to plan on how it is going to be implemented. And I'm also not sure if in the budget, in the MTF, but also in annual budget, if this OSPP's construction is also brought under your attention, so that you can provide a budget at least in phases, so that we can be able to have these OSPPs, which are very, very important to, as I said, to facilitate the intra-EAC trade. I also wanted to, Right Honorable Speaker, to inform this assembly that one of the challenges we realized when we were visiting the Rusumo OSPP was on during COVID-19 period. But now I want to inform this assembly that Rwanda has removed the restrictions, especially on the free movement of goods and persons. So it's a good move. This happened because of the COVID issue, but now the borders, the Rwanda borders are open, and I'm sure that the trade is going on smoothly. I wanted also to stress on a very important issue, Right Honorable Speaker, which we came across on the part of Tanzania, and I think also on the part of Burundi and Tanzania, on the issue of lack of laboratory and test equipments. Right Honorable Speaker, you know very well that most of our products, which are on the cross-border trade, is mainly food. So if we don't have these laboratory and test equipment becomes very, very dangerous for the consumers, especially our citizens in our region. So I would want to emphasize that I know very well that most of the partner states take a milestone and budget and put efforts to put these laboratories to make sure that the standards are being observed. So I wanted to request and urge the Council of Ministers to follow up closely. When we visited, it's a security, it's a food security issue mainly, so which we really need to be careful with. Otherwise, we will be trading, yes, but the health part of it, it will be a challenge to us. Right Honorable Speaker, also wanted to mention on the issue we came across in, I think it is Kobero, OSBP, and I think this might happen also into other upcoming OSBPs if measures are not taken. Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chair Council, the issue of quality control when we put in place these OSBPs. We realized that the part of Tanzania, it was the same budget, but the part of Tanzania came up with a good design and a good the way of establishing this OSBP, which really helped in the coming up with a good OSB. But on the part of Burundi, the choice was different. So we wondered if the Secretariat during the process can accompany the partner states to help them come up with the standards in putting in place these OSPPs. So you find that a country is free to start in a certain phase, another country starts another phase. But at the end of the day, you find the traders are facing a lot of problems, and sometimes money are put into something which is not necessarily urgent at that particular time. So I feel that we should be having a common standards when putting in place these standards. And I want to take this opportunity to request that Burundi is supported to finalize the other part of the OSBP to make sure that traders are facilitated. Of course, the other part of the budget was used to construct the houses for the workers, which was also very important. But I think the council and Secretariat can look at it and help to make sure that this OSBP is full functional. Otherwise, this is a very busy OSBP, and which can facilitate our traders between Tanzania and Burundi. So I wanted to also add my voice by requesting that the council can look at it and the Secretariat and see how they can help the Burundi part to have an operational OSBP. Right Honorable Speaker, my sister, Dr. Warder mentioned the issue of gender desk at OSBP. I'm happy that the Chair Council, as a woman, is going to help us pioneering on this issue. It's very important to remember that most of our women in cross-border trades are still at the informal sector, and they need a lot of support, be it the procedure on trade, be it the gender-based violence, issues of language. So if we have, I don't think it adds a lot of budget. We can use the same personnel at the OSBP and train them how to manage and how to help women cross-border traders and help them become traders at the other level. Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, wanted to mention on the issue of Rusumo hydropower project. Right Honorable Speaker, this is a very important project, and want to thank the Council and the three countries, Rwanda, Burundi, and Tanzania, for this initiative. However, Right Honorable Speaker, this is a project which citizens of this country are waiting, but it has delayed. Right Honorable Speaker, a lot of issues which we were told as reasons why this has been delayed are those issues we discuss here now and then. Issues of harmonization of laws, issues of administration, which can easily be managed if really we focus on the importance of this hydropower project. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I wanted to once again request that this project is speed up, and at the end of the day, we help our citizens to get electricity and improve their well-being. I want also to ask the Council of Ministers if they can get time during their busy schedule to once in a while get a time jointly to go and visit our OSDPs. We would want to see you there by yourselves, looking to the issues, because I know very well that some of the issues can be solved. If once in a while you all visit some of the projects, and especially the one-stop border post. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to once again say that I support the initiative and I support the project. And I want to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, by availing time to the members of the committee and assembly to do these oversights, which are very, very important. But these reports are not important if they are not implemented. Council of Ministers, please help us get some time again to sit down and at least give us a feedback. Give us a feedback on these recommendations. There are those which are possible. There are those which are not possible because of many reasons. But I wish, Right Honorable Speaker, to one day have a special plenary to just discuss on the status of implementation of our recommendations. I beg to submit.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Oda. Honorable Engineer. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to debate this important report. Mr. Speaker, first let me also declare the interest that I'm a member of this committee. And therefore, I support this report. However, there'll be some other things which haven't been covered properly in this report. I'll mention them, and I think the Chair would support me. Mr. Speaker, first of all, we are debating this report today, 7th of June. But on-spot assessment was done in October 25th to 28th last year. That means 8 months has passed. So the development, what is existing now, maybe when we did a on-spot assessment today, is different. So I think either it is in the hands of the Secretariat or Eala, but there is a need of reporting these issues in a proper time before a long span has caused some a lot of things to be done. So this is one of the very important observations. The day we are conducting this on-spot assessment and the day we are reporting, it should not be quite a long time, such that the report should still maintain their value, not outdated. Number one. Number two, Mr. Speaker, that Chapter 15 of the treaty, the establishment of its African community, partner states undertook to cooperate the infrastructure and services. So this is according to our treaty. So what we have observed, let's say in Rusumo, and the side of Tanzania and the side of Rwanda, there was one very, very important deviation. That means something which differed a lot. We expected that when we asked a question that how many trucks have passed here. If one side you are told that 1,000 trucks passed in a 1 month, and the other side you are told 70 trucks passed in the same month, something wrong in that place. So what we discovered as a committee, the reporting system, the information we got from the side of Tanzania and the information we got from the side of Rwanda was different. Data can never lie, accordingly. That is a normal procedure, that you can never lie with data. That means we can see that there is something missing. And I would argue the Secretariat, there must be a special format for reporting, similar one, whereby the same information will be given with this side, should be resembled with the information you get for the other side. But here, what we got
don't you think whatever the format, but if the reporting provided the correct information, you do not have discrepancy. So there can be a friendly format, fine, but it is not the format that changes data. It means one side doesn't tell the truth, or both. I'm not sure I am understood.
We understand.
If it is the same road, same border post, the crossing is happening because there is no track that ends in no man's land. So if you are getting two different statistics from both sides, it is not a question of the format of reporting. It is the fact of either record keeping or whatever. But if the point you are making is that there must be a way that compares people to report properly.
Yes.
And those who go to oversee the activity can easily access the information and question where it is not right, then it is fine. But I think the problem is different. A lack of a harmonized format is a problem, but it is a secondary problem. I think the basic problem is people are not telling the truth. Isn't it, Mheshimiwa?
Yeah, well,
Yes.
okay, Mr. Speaker, it's okay what you are saying, but I'm reporting from what we have discovered as a committee, and that what we need, it should not happen. So whether it's a fault of people who are reporting or it's a format, but what we need, because if the road is same, the truck is passing this way, this side, and the same truck is passing the other side, and you have different number of trucks which have passed per month, that means something wrong in that place. So that's what we have discovered. I'm arguing the Secretariat that the Council that this should not happen. There must be a way such that some other things, data can never lie. Mr. Speaker, also in the same issue that you will find that according to our assessment in different places, this border that is of difference between is 2 kilometers away from the side of Tanzania and the side of Burundi. The difference 2 kilometers away. Unlike many of them, like here in the borders of Kenya, Tanzania, and Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya. So what we would like that in this border post, other border posts should not be very much different away. Mr. Speaker, the other thing that I would like to comment, the committee observation at page 23, item number 10, 11, and 12, they are really very important observation of the committee which have made. And we really, the council should really keep an eye on those and to find the way. And the third thing, when we come to this Rusumo hydropower, of course, this is one of the very important infrastructure which has been made for this East African community. And I hope now, we don't have the latest news, but I hope now the power is nearly at the last stage now. There was a delay, not only 1 year, it's more than 1 year, but at least something now has been completed. One of the things here, technically, I would like to say, Mr. Speaker, that now Rwanda, Burundi, and Tanzania, they are interconnected. You can say that they are connected to one grid. But so as to Kenya, if Tanzania is connected to Tanzania, now the grid is same. If Kenya is connected to Uganda, the grid is same. Now we have one grid in East Africa. Mr. Speaker, apart from this project now, it results to another project, very important one. And the Secretariat should look for the possibility of this project after completion of this Rusumo. The main advantage of this project, not only that they are connected with this one power station, but they are connected with the grid of East Africa. And the advantage of it, that now, if there is no enough power in Rwanda, that means Rwanda is connected to Tanzania, they can buy power from Tanzania now. If there's no enough power in Burundi, now there must be an arrangement of connection with special meters. That means Burundi can buy power from Tanzania. And if there is no enough power in Tanzania, that means Tanzania now can get power from Rwanda or Burundi. This system is available in Scandinavia, just like in Sweden, Denmark, and Norway. Sweden is nuclear power, Norway is hydropower, Denmark is wind power. They rely on wind power. But now, you can see that they are interconnected. The advantage of it that when there is no enough water in Norway, that means Norway, they are getting power from Sweden and Denmark, and vice versa. So this advantage now we are having in East Africa. That means we need to go further with this project. Not only that Burundi is supplied from the
Yes, I need to remind you that Honorable Engineer Munya is an electrical engineer. Yeah, so he's speaking from the position of authority. Engineer Munya, you will proceed when you resume. Excuse me, you will proceed when you resume because it is time for us to break. And as I told you, when we resume, you will be on the floor again.
Okay.
So, and the Honorable Kakoza will follow, Honorable Dut, the order I had spoken. Then I told you in the beginning that the General Purpose Committee wants to meet the Council Chair this afternoon to finalize the work they are doing on supplementary budget. And I considered this, discussed with the clerk, we thought it is worth it to grant that time. So we cannot have a plenary running and a committee sitting at the same time, even if we have quorum, but we can't have those two activities running together. So we will resume our plenary tomorrow morning for that matter, to allow time for general purpose to meet the council chair. Is that right? Okay, so I adjourn until tomorrow morning at 9:30. House adjourned.